mean, you just, when you, again, after you work some really cool shows, you know, I did like Summer Sanitarium in 2003 with Metallica, Linkin Park, Biscuit, Deftones, Mudvayne, and you work at that for 10 days. And as an artist, you want to get to that level. When you go home to your friends, you don't want to drink a fucking 30 pack of Bud Light and sit there and talk about nothing. You want to work on shit. And that's what I moved on from.
That right there, that mindset of like,
love it.
Kind of, you know,
not kind of, there's no kind of here.
There's no kind of, like, it just, no, there is a kind of, like that kind of mindset of where people kind of just, oh, I'm going to settle.
STFU to the ones who choose, who will go say that we got some different views. I would rather be the one just hanging from the noose and to play for a team who will always lose. Who can pick sides like a rich man picking ties? But I will cut ties with the bullshit and lies. Who will realize that they eyes closed? I just know what I know, but they call that exposed, right?
Fake, always coming from the bottom, out there causing all the problems. Never understand the
I haven't had a regular day job since 1999.
Oh, God bless you.
Yeah, in 2000 and 2012, 2000 to 2012, I worked for Live Nation.
Oh,
so
shit.
I worked at concerts.
Okay.
So I was telling Mike he was good. Oops, sorry.
It's all good.
He was over at my place the other day and hanging out with the band, me and Russ and Damien.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him that Live Nation was like my music college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew how to play already, obviously, in being a band at like a mid to low level. But when I got that job, it just really jacked me up into learning like all the aspects of production, business. You start to realize, like, you know, after you've done like a season of shows. And in 2000, when I started, it was like, you know, boy band central, like Britney and NSYNC and all that shit. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time Britney Spears walked by, I was at the Staples Center where the Lakers and the Clippers played.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the hallway. It was an NSYNC show. Nice. And I was a runner. And I'm standing in the hallway, like talking to the production person, whatever. And then those guys start traipsing in, you know, like dipshit guy number 1 and idiot guy number 2. And then what the hell's Curly Q's name?
How do you really feel, Mikey?
Why am I forgetting? Timberlake. Timberlake walks by. Yeah. And then maybe about 10, 15 feet behind him is Britney. And she had on, I'll never forget it, she had on these kind of like these rustic brown pants that were like made of a very thin material. And they were just, her butt was just basically swallowing the pants. And I was like, shit, that's amazing. It was just hot. So
never got that
when you're around that kind of situation, you start to like, your deadbeat friends and stuff like that, and people who don't really want to work hard and kind of like achieve anything cool in the industry, you start to get tired of them. So it really helped me just learn what you need to all the facets of what you need to learn to kind of like ascend, you know, and kind of get somewhere.
That's a really good point, and we bring this up a lot. It's a common thread. There's a lot of common threads when we interview artists and people in the industry. Is, you know, getting rid of the fat, cutting the negative people out of your life that are just kind of not, it's not that they're deadbeats, but it's like they're not doing anything to better their situation and like following their dreams, right?
Right. And I got like basically every friend that I had, I got them a job working in that capacity. And some of them took to it, some of them didn't. And just because they don't, doesn't mean they're like shitty people or whatever, but it's like, you always want to see friends and people try to get something cool done in life, try to move forward in some way, you know what I mean? And you just, after you work some really cool shows, you know, I did like Summer Sanitarium in 2003 with Metallica, Linkin Park, Biscuit, Deftones, Mudvayne, and you work at that for 10 days. And as an artist, you want to get to that level. When you go home to your friends, you don't want to drink a fucking 30 pack of Bud Light and sit there and talk about nothing. You want to work on shit. And that's what I moved on from.
That right there, that mindset of like,
love it.
Kind of, you know,
not kind of, there's no kind of here.
There's no kind of, like, it just, no, there is a kind of, like that kind of mindset of where people kind of just, oh, I'm going to settle. I'm going to be okay with settling. Yeah, that's great.
Imagine going and working with these bands like on the level that you want to be on, right? You're seeing it all go on. You're in it, right? And then you go home and then your friends are like talking about their times back in elementary school. And you're like, I don't want to sit here and drink. And like, what are we drinking to? Like, I want to drink and celebrate. I'm not. I want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about like just being in
I don't like to reminisce. I'm not a reminiscer. It's like I'll do it here and there, but I'm not one of those people who thinks high school was the greatest times. Remember this? And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, that's fine. I can talk about that for a couple minutes, and then I got to talk about what we're doing now or moving forward.
It's like the worst when you go back to like your 10th or 20th high school reunion, 20th in my case, and literally.
I've never been to any of those.
Good for you. I got suckered.
I wouldn't go to that if it was at my house.
Yeah, I got suckered into one, and just the misery that people carry around, and not everybody, but the ones that stayed in the same town, didn't leave. It was okay to just be okay.
Yeah.
To me, that their biggest dream was Friday night at 5:00. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. I like things a little fucked up and a little scary, so you work harder towards things that you want.
Uncomfortability makes you grow and makes you better. But like again, you're around the 5 people that you're around most are the 5 people that are going to basically bleed into what your consciousness is. So like you're going to be a lot like the most common the most 5 people that you're most commonly around are going to be like the consciousness of what you are. So if you're putting yourself around people who aren't really doing anything with their life, not that they're not doing anything, but they're kind of like not doing anything. So they don't want to talk about you. They don't ask you how you're doing. They don't contribute to what you're. So it's like you're not helping anything. So hey man, I still love you, but it's like I don't have to be hang out with you all the time. I'm gonna go do my thing, like move on and like do things with my life that I think are following my passion. So that's a lot of to learn that early on, time in your career. That's the best thing you could do for yourself, because then you're just going to keep aligning yourself with the like-minded people that you want to be around in the first place. So,
right. And without it, I very well may have been like kind of afraid or just uncertain about what to do. And I probably would have like still just been doing that kind of thing. Because even then I was always a lot more pushy than any of them. It was pretty obvious that they just wanted to do it for fun. And here's the thing for me. It's a given that it's fun. You start doing it because it's fun. But once you want to start moving, like, hey, do you just want to play around here in the garage, whatever, or you want to take it further? And when you realize that, you start to understand that you have to know some sort of business. You have to be involved with something,
So being an LA native, I live here. You live here as well, but you're in Dallas right now. Where did you grow up? Like, how did you get together, as far as like playing in bands? Like, what was kind of that journey for ML?
But first off, how old are you, Mike? I keep asking that, and I keep getting this thing. How old are you?
38.
God bless you. I'm going to be 38 in October. And you're 25, right, Damien?
25. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So as back to what Mike was saying, like kind of the evolution of, by the way, ReddStar, is that based off of the planet Nibiru?
No.
No.
It's based off of the ReddStar from Rage Against the Machine, and basically just not communism per se, but just what's the word I'm looking for here? Not anarchy. They're just working against the status quo or the system and that kind of thing. And when I say system, I don't just mean like political system, just everything. You know what I mean? Like basically from within, just trying to like push the boundaries, and also just sounds cool.
It does. It's very cool. Very cool.
Sounds cool and looks cool. It's a simple, understandable idea, and I do realize that we'll probably get asked about that a lot and have to come up with some sort of ideology that makes sense to a lot of people or whatever, and
it's a movement.
I'm sure at some point we'll do that.
It's a movement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of the way that the band was born out of the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like we came through that, so it's just kind of like forcing your way through the muck, for lack of a better term. But anyway, so speaking of where I came from, I was born in a city called West Covina, which is about 20-25 minutes east of Los Angeles. And went out to high school. I actually went to high school the same place where Tommy Lee and Vince Neil went, Charter Oak High School.
Oh,
and my aunt, and strangely enough,
that's right.
Stuff like this.
It's from West Covina. That's fucking
But my aunt went to school with them and was friends with those guys. At this point now, they probably just like, hey, I remember you, kind of thing, But she did go to school with them, and I have pictures of them together, and I have this really weird, faint memory. And she told me this happened, but where they used to live in Covina, actually, with my grandparents, I was there because she used to babysit me. My parents got divorced when I was young. I guess Tommy Lee came over there. And my aunt swears up and down that he was like teasing me and goofing with me and stuff like that. And I feel like I remember something like that, but who knows?
That's
You know?
that's fantastic.
If I met the dude, I will absolutely tell that story. And if he acts like he doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I'll be like, hey man,
That's what my aunt said.
you can deny it all you want, but you were at my place.
That's what Auntie says.
Yeah. So anyways, I just, I grew up in what's called there and then just started getting into bands like around, I think 7th or 8th grade or something like that. Tried to play with my friends, and we did that for a while and they weren't as serious as I was. And then I moved on to like putting an ad out and like Craigslist or whatever that shit was called, Recycler or something like that, and started getting into bands. And just from there, I've only been in 4 bands. This is the 4th band I've been in. And just every time it's just kind of went up and up and up, and
That's what it should be. Yeah.
brings me to here,
What band?
So,
what was your band that you were like, like gung ho in, like that was like almost to where you wanted it to be before this one?
Well, the last band I was in, we had 2 record deals and stuff like that. So that one, I guess, I don't care. I mean, I move on. It's this is the band we'll get what we need to get done. So I don't really worry about it. Again, I don't really reminisce. I don't think back. It's like I was in a band called Function, which was like a 311 Chili Peppers kind of band. Then I was in a band called My Evolution, which was a little bit more like maybe like a Velvet Revolver or Audio Slave kind of thing. And then Night Electric was a little too much on the dancey electric side for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a hard, right? It was akin to like Static X and those kind of bands, And then this is the kind of band that I always wanted to be in, like a very rap rock heavy, but a guy can sing kind of band, got that Rage Against the Machine vibe in it, but with a dude who can also sing, maybe more like a little bit like Linkin Park. And that's where Damien comes in. He's able to do so many things, and do them well. And it's not like he's just like, oh, he's just a hardcore rapping dude and he sounds like Rage and he kind of shouts during the chorus, which doesn't bother me in the least. I love Rage. I love the Rage sound. But if you don't want to just copy them, you know what I mean? You want to have something else. So Damien is also able to bring that
So it's almost
Chester,
one of the colors to your palette, essentially, to what you guys
right.
do.
He's able to bring that Chester Bennington vibe and some other stuff and a lot of like new characters and a lot of like current rapping and current singing. And that just brings so many possibilities to the band to be something unique and not just a clone of those other bands,
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Do it in your own way.
So I got a question for you guys. And this is for both of you. You can answer it however you want.
At the same
at the same time, do it all at once. No. You guys, obviously, like you said, you don't live in the past, but you've come from several bands. Our podcast is really, Success Leaves Clues kind of thing. What has been, Damien, you can start with it if you want, but what has been kind of your guys' road to success? Like what has benefited you to get to this point, essentially? What's been the adversity that's kind of said, hey, this is the band I want to do and this is where we're going?
Well, it's funny because they all were basically together before I came into the picture. And it was, I always was into the idea, not to sound cheesy, but like Linkin Park was like one of the bands that made me want to like fucking do music. And once the drummer Russ hit me up and was just like, hey, so like we're doing this side project with me and these other 2 guys, and they're all from other bands while like this quarantine thing's fucking everything up. And if you're interested, we need a vocalist. And I was immediately down because, like, obviously, it's something that I've always wanted to do. Because actually, prior to me playing in bands, I did like my own solo rap music. So like, I was rapping before I was singing, and it's funny because like we were talking about this while I was out in LA. Like, in this case, like most people, if you told them that in a time where like there's no shows and everything's really kind of like at a standstill in the music world, that you're going to start a brand new project and you're just going to fucking go against the grain, they think you're insane, But it's funny because we've only gotten together as a group twice. And in that time frame, we've worked with a really well-known producer. We have a really big head that just fucking shot our music video. And, there's already all these people that are interested in wanting to get involved, despite the fact that we're doing something that's really against the grain and kind of ballsy in a way, because there's more ways for us to fail than succeed. But at the end of the day, it's we're fucking showing that it's not impossible. You know what I mean? Just like anything else, just like how the idea of fucking being a rock star is a 1 in a million thing, you know, as far as being successful at it. So it's like the fact that we're already making strides in such an early stage of this fucking project. It's, you know, it's definitely a fucking good sign.
And just to kind of tap on that before you come in, Mike, as well, is that we talk about this in this State of the Union in music we do every week. And a guy named Damian Keys is somebody we really advocate to people, is that getting ahead now, using the leverage you have with your organic reach and each of you having your past successes and being able to come together and hybrid that is only going to, you know, add to the momentum that you're going to carry over when things kind of get back to traditionally the way they were. There's a whole ecosystem that is going on here that all these components, when implemented, the live streaming, the content building, and just keeping that going, that machine, right? When you get back to that traditional sense of playing shows, because of all that back work that you're doing, and you're not just sitting on your ass, you guys are like making strides, and like people are supporting you because people want something to believe in. And like get behind that, and your past efforts have shown that, and you know, you get great minds like yourself together in one room to cultivate a great project. It's probably going to take off a lot faster than anything you've ever done before because of the lack of everything going on and the fact that you're taking the initiative to make that happen in the first place. So kudos to doing it. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is like where I come from in this situation is I started the band, and now I'm trying to pat myself on the back. It's like, it's part of the story. Like I was in another band at the beginning of the year, and well, everybody was. Like,
you sure were.
Yeah, and it was an active band doing active stuff. We were signed to a record deal. We had things going on. There was a lot of shaking up going on earlier, and actually Mike was at the last show.
I was.
The band broke up like a couple of days.
Who else did we? Oh, I know who we interviewed on the show was Crash Karma. They were at that show too, and and it was also mentioned that it was 9/11 during the interview. That was 9/11's last.
Right. So we played this show, you know, and it was with our friends and otherwise, and friends with Hyro the Hero.
Nice.
And it was at the Viper Room. Yeah, and it was a big show. It was a big kind of like, you know, industry kind of show. Everybody's signed to record deals and has been friends for a long time. And it was like a big old like, boom, let's do this big bash in LA. Kind of get 2020 started off with a bang, which ironically it did. And then nobody saw the opposite bang happening. But as far as I was concerned, a couple days later, my band was dust. And strangely enough, this is going to sound like bullshit, but it's true. I was fine with that. I didn't like the timing of it, and there were some embarrassing aspects of it, like new management, and we're just about to get on a call with all of them, with our attorney, who actually is Hyro's attorney and otherwise attorney as well.
Very cool.
We're about to have this big call and a strategy moving forward because the guy that ReddStar worked with producing our music, Sahaj Tikkaden, who's in Raw, R.A., he had just done music for 9 so it was like all this stuff was happening, and then boom, it was like the singer quit, just abruptly quit, he's done. And I didn't try to talk him into coming back because I was fine with it being over. Just the timing of all of it was kind of silly, you know what I mean? And it was just one of those things where it was fine. It was just time to let go and move on.
But did you stop because of COVID?
He didn't want to do it anymore.
Weeks before.
Okay.
Yeah. This was in January. This is January 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to do it anymore, which is fine. But I did. So it literally took like a day. Russ, who drums in this band, was also drumming in 9 at the end there.
Right.
He was staying with me and working out in LA. And literally like the next day after it was over, I'm like, I got to do something. I got to start a new band. We got to start a new band. And he was a little bit like, yeah, for sure. Because he was actually in another band as well that he was pretty serious about, but he was kind of teetering a little bit on. There was stuff I didn't know going on in that other band, and thought process of him wanting to move on from it. So I just knew that he wanted to play with me and he wanted to do stuff, but I wasn't sure about those other things, and I wasn't really thinking about him anyways. So I'm taking him to work. He was working at this cool bar down there called Bourbon Room. And I played him these demos that I had because I had a whole slew of songs for that I wrote for 9 that weren't right. And I was bummed that they weren't going to get used. Like 30 songs. So I'm playing him these songs and he's like, dude, he goes, these are badass. He goes, we got to do this stuff. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. So pretty much right then and there, it was like the band was formed. From there, it was like that kind of like that crazy uphill battle of going like, all right, well, we're starting a new band. I've just been in this other band for 9 years. And now I got to start a new band in 2020 when everybody's going on tour together. It was going to be the year of touring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is what I have to do. I wasn't satisfied with what we got accomplished in that other band. It was plenty of stuff to be proud about, but it wasn't the end of the road. And that goes back to your question, like, hey, what are you most proud about with bands that you've been in, whatever? And I'm like, well, I'm proud of everything that we did well, but I'm not satisfied with that. You want more. And it's not you want more like greedy, more like, oh, I got $10,000, now I need 50. I got 50, now I need 250. It's just the drive you have as an artist that you want to keep going, and you haven't said what you need to say, and you haven't said it in the right way. So that's where this band came from. We got it started, and then we just kind of kept moving. And we had, obstacles. There was a bass player who played with us 2 or 3 times, and he quit abruptly. He couldn't do it. And that's how Eric got in the band. I thought Eric. I'd run into Eric a couple times and thought, hey, let's get Eric involved. Text Eric. He was into it. From there, the three of us played as a three-piece, just going over music, playing. And finally, now the COVID was full on then. I mean, you weren't even supposed to go anywhere. You weren't supposed to drive to a studio. We kept driving to a studio. We kept stopping in at 7-Eleven and getting drinks and working. And then right as we started looking for a vocalist, probably about maybe 3 weeks and change, maybe a month into the scenario, Damien presented himself. And he went, he had a conversation with Russ. Damien went and we sent Damien music. Damien went and recorded it on his own. He just went on his own and recorded demo shit, sent it back to us. And within 20 seconds, I knew that was the guy to be in the band. It was on.
Where did you record?
I actually, it's funny because I have a guy that like is relatively close to me, but I knew like, at least even though they were demos, I wanted it to kind of be like palatable. Yeah. So I actually went to Pennsylvania to cut with these guys that I've recorded with my old band. And
Lancaster by any chance?
No, it's more towards Allentown in Stroudsburg, so like more up in that area. But basically I went and recorded all 3 songs that I was gonna do in like that one day, and then I'm not even gonna lie, I left the studio thinking, man, these guys are gonna fucking hate this shit, and they're probably gonna be nice and be like, yeah, that's cool, man, we'll get back to you, and never hear from them. And then fucking Russ was the one who was like, so yeah, I just showed it to Mikey and he really fucked with it, and we want to get on like a Zoom call with everybody. So I was like, and I was literally like in the car with my girlfriend, and I was just like, I can't believe these guys fucking like this, because I'm just like, I'm also my own worst critic. Sure. I never like just sending like rough music, I always like fucking sending like what's basically done. Yeah. Or not done. So I was surprised, but again, like, once we got in like the studio and like fucking made what we made, it was funny. It was like, it took for me to get away from my old band and be with a new group for a week to realize how shitty of a situation I was in and how I was putting blinders on because I was just so focused on doing what I got to do. But once a better opportunity presented itself, I was like, you know what, I got to dip. And the minute I got back to Jersey, I fucking let my management and my other band know, like, yeah, I'm out.
Dude, that's a serious mental shift right there. So let's just tap in that really quick, because it seems to be really important. The mindset of somebody. I'm in the same position like right now, and I think a lot of us are getting these positions where we got to make decisions and be able to cut out the fat and be able to start like really being around the right people that are going to be able to cultivate the best out of us. And like Mikey said, he didn't feel fulfilled in the last band, and not greedy wise, like just fulfilled as an artist, being able to get to the sound that he wanted, the right guys that he wanted. And then, when he talked to Russ and showed him the demos or the 30 songs that he did, and he said, that's the shit we need to be doing. There you go. Like now we bring in kind of manifestation, the law of attraction, being able to kind of get on the same frequency and then kind of start attracting the right group of people around you. And that's really metaphorically, like on a level of like outside of what we see, that shit like is working on a whole other level where it's bringing you, like for you to go, on your own, take the initiative in a fucking pandemic, that you have to fucking, that you have to go take initiative and go to a recording studio and do these tracks and then be your own worst critic and then be like, okay, let's see what happens. Of course you want to show somebody the end result, but when you show guys that are like artists, and I think they'll understand the quality because of what you have the means to record, but to be able to do that and then send that to them and then everything start clicking, that dude, that's what it's all about right there. So now you're around people, you have these songs. So let's talk about these songs that you recorded. How many did you guys lay down? 3? 4, 5?
Are you talking about the ones that we actually recorded with Sahaj or the ones he did for a demo?
Well, he did 3 for the demo, right?
Right. Yeah, we ended up not using any of those.
Okay,
just parts of that. Well, hold on. I just want to go back to the demos just real fast that he did. I remember, like, as we started to look for a vocalist, Russ asked me, because we were just playing, right? And Russ goes, well, like, who do you hear in, like, vocal? Like, what do you hear on this? Like, because he didn't really have any idea, right? And I go, I want rapping on this. For sure, without a doubt. And I said rapping and singing, and I go, I want somebody that has something to say and an attitude and a vibe. And at first we thought we were going to have to get multiple people. We thought we were going to have to get somebody who rapped and somebody who sang, because a lot of people don't do both well,
right?
You know,
rapping, singing.
and it just seemed like it was going to maybe have to be that, you know. And when he did both, that's why I liked what he did. It's like, you know, I get it, like. You go and you record demos, and singers are always so self-conscious about shit that they shouldn't be, but they are. Maybe that helps them push, and they're coming from a different place. You know, I mean, it's a completely different animal singing, expressing that shit than it is playing the guitar or the drums or anything. They're all amazing talents and very emotional, but they're different. You know. So I can see why you would feel that.
It's the only instrument that's organic if you really think about it. Like,
right. Because you're playing as some sort of a machine or a stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're playing the guitar. But when I heard it, what I did was I dug the attitude in the rapping immediately and the flow. When you listen to a rapper, you want to hear a flow. You don't want to hear some, like, I hate to say this, but white dudes who are, like, not necessarily full on rappers, and I didn't know enough about him to know his background just yet, can sound really corny when they're rapping.
Yep.
You know what I mean, it can sound like it sounds like they just decided to rap because they saw it on fucking TV or whatever it is, you know?
Very few. There's very few can do it. I mean, the ones I can think of are like Yellow Wolf, Eminem, and
and you have to be able to hear through that. And I heard that, so I'm like, all right, cool. The rapping's there, right? That sounds killer, and I love the flow. And it's like it's on time, but it's not rigid, and it's just got an attitude. But what hit me second and hit me the most was when the chorus came in. There was this big singing chorus, and he could sing. So I'm like, wait a minute. This dude does both at a high level. This is it. I played like 35 seconds of the song called Russ Right Back, and Russ is pretty notorious for not answering his phone, as Damien can attest to. And he, and he picked up and he's like, yeah, man. I go, dude, this is the guy. This is the guy, man. This is it. And I'm not a very patient person, and I'm very decisive. I'm a fire sign, so I know exactly what I want. I'm never on the fence. Rarely ever. You will not hear me like I'm on the fence about that. He goes, yeah, I think so too, man. And Russ is very more arbitrary and kind of like, he's like, well, you know, we got a couple other people. I'm like, nope. Tell those people can get fucking fucked in the ass with a broomstick. They're gone. I'm not dealing with them. I'm like, I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to even go through that process, you know? I mean, I know that you got to be a team player and you got to, like, listen. Yeah. But I was like, bye. They're gone. Get this guy. Let's talk. And he goes, well, let's get on the phone. Let's do a Zoom call. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk and let's make it happen, you know? Because I think at first, like, you know, at first people are starting this start a thing and you don't know what's going on. Not everybody's as gung-ho as I am. I was starting a new band literally the day after my band of almost 10 years broke up. And it wasn't like a side project. It was my new band. My new identity was happening right then and there. It was like, all right, I shit off my costume and this is the new layer. Yep. Right? It's on now. Yep. With Russ, it might have been a little different. He was still kind of in that other band. He was still trying to figure out what he was doing, you know. Mm-hmm. He was trying to get his feet, but he was really into it. But everybody was like still looking at it as like a project. And I don't ever use that name. This is a band. It's like a fucking gang, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then Damien was in another band at the time. So it was kind of like, I just made everybody understand. I'm like, I'm not fucking around. You know what I mean? No. If we're going to go to this house, we're going to rob this shit out of it. We aren't going to case it.
Right.
Okay? Not that we would ever do anything like that. Just
I get the analogy. Lemon tuna fish. Yeah. Is it an analogy?
Right. But at the same time, I can't force people to do anything they don't want to do. But they needed to know this is what I'm doing.
Right,
You know
bro.
what I mean? And everything moved very quickly. It was like we talked on a Zoom call, the four of us, after those demos were came in, and we came to this agreement. And we thought about it. We were like, hey, let's work on some more songs. Let's do this. And within a couple weeks later, we're like booked to go record with Sahaj. You know, so it was like bam, 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 bam. Everything has moved very quickly. The only thing that didn't move quickly was this little lull in between working with Sahaj and getting to the point to like do the video. Because you got to start getting people commissioned. You got to get people work. Like Brian Cox, who did our video, he lives in fucking London.
Holy.
And he wasn't sure. He works for Bring Me the Horizon. And he goes, well, how are we going to do this? I go, dude, we'll do it by Zoom. And he goes, okay, I think we can do it. He goes, it's really difficult. Then he thought about it. He goes, wait, I did some Bring Me stuff. One of the guys from Bring Me the Horizon lives in LA. And they had to film that guy in LA at the same place that we just did our video via remotely. And I said, let's do that. And Brian's like, okay, we can do it. And we did it.
That's
so awesome. If you crunch together the time that we've had to work on things and make things happen and get things done, it's been a very small amount of time and it's been very fast paced and a ton has gotten done.
You're making up for lost too, man. You're making up for all that back, all that back end work that you put into it. It's like paying its dividend now because that's just the way it works, man. You know, it starts hitting. It rains.
I mean, we're not fucking around. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky or anything. It's like, it's just a real deal. It's like,
that's confidence. That's good. You need that.
It's super serious shit. And it's like, again, it's like in the face of global pandemic and you can't do this. And, oh, you were in these bands and what happened to this? You know, when people say like, oh, but you were in that other band. So I'm like, so fuck cares.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I don't drive by an old house I used to live at and be like, how do I live now that I don't live there anymore? You know what I mean? Like, what do I care? I just live there for whatever time I did and I experienced what I experienced there. And that's that, man. I live over here.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how people hold on to things that don't serve them. Right. And
it's
like, it's like we all, you know, it's like you said earlier, it's like, I don't live in the past. This is my new band. This is what I'm doing. And I mean,
you only have right now.
Yeah, you only have right now. So, I mean, I look at, you know, ReddStar and, you know, I know all the other bands that you guys have come from, you know, Russ especially because Russ and I have had a working relationship for like over 10 years. But anyway, everything I've seen from your guys' bands, you know, has always been quality. And there's this work ethic that comes with you guys. It seems that this is the making of the perfect storm.
Yes. That's right.
You know what I mean? Like Russ is just, when I sit with you guys and you know, and just to give our viewers something, about a week ago before this interview, I sat with ReddStar to kind of talk about what they were doing and how things were going and maybe how we could work together. And that's how Mikey and Damien came to the podcast today. And, you know, I just see this fire, this vision, this straight line that's not going to be interrupted because people are absolutely, you know, locked into what they're doing. Granted, not looking towards the past, but definitely looking towards the horizon in the future. You know, where you guys, you know, what's going to happen next now? I mean, like you guys record 4 songs with Sahaj. STFU seems it's going to be the first single. What do you guys, you know, obviously it's limited time. It's, you know, we can't go back to clubs.
Well, Mike, real quick.
Like, yeah.
Brad, I think the best thing to learn from the past is the mistakes that you made and learn from them and rectify them moving forward. As opposed to what we talked about earlier, like living in the past. When you live in the past, you favor it more than you do what you're doing now, what you might do forward, right? You're always forward thinking. You think about it, all the things that you did before messed up, like Damien said earlier, like he was with us a week and it's shown this major light on what was not right for him in his life and that band he was in and all that stuff, you know? Yep. And I took all those things of the bands that I had been in before and the band that I was just in right before that and go, okay, we're not making these mistakes. We don't need these things. You need these red flags that show themselves. You have to see them immediately and get rid of them or you're going to live with them for a long time. And I mean, they're going to come back to bite you in the ass, maybe a month from now, maybe 2 years from now, just at some point. So the reason why I think things are moving so quickly and so succinctly and so well is because everybody's on the same page and it has a natural energy that's propelling it, that we're not having to like force it.
Yep,
We're not having to like beg people to check it out or beg people. It's very free and loose. Like the fact that we're able to do this right now while the world is locked down, we didn't plan this shit. Like how could you ever plan that? You asked me January 10th if the next day my band was going to be done, I would have said no. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I could have told you if somebody said, "Hey, would you quit or would you move forward?" Without hesitation, I'd say I'd move forward. But that would just been like talk. That's what actually happened. So we didn't know any of these things were going to happen, but we just kept forging ahead because now we're free of those shackles that we had before, and this is exciting to us, and it's fun, and it's positive. Mm-hmm. And again, it's got a natural energy that's just pushing it forward, and you really can't fight that. Only a complete fucking lunatic would like start to like put on brakes on a runaway train that's going in the right direction.
And that's the person that you want to be part of something.
So where we end up is
where you end up, you're always going to be in the right place because again, like you have people like, listen, I have people I still play with that are just like, it's like they try to fight things. It's like, stop fighting it. Let go. Like I think now like a lot of bands are not used to live streaming, but they need to start doing that. And it's like, if you don't start doing that and start incorporating it, you're losing out on a massive audience that you could be getting in front of now. And this way, when this shit kind of subsides and you're doing regular shows, it's going to carry over, man. Like you have the time, you can get ahead right now. Like this is the silver lining. This is the thing. If you're making moves right now and you continue to do that, it's going to be great for you when things get kind of back to normal. You're going to have momentum.
Right.
Stop hiding and waiting to show shit. Show shit now. Show behind the scenes. Create fucking content. Like,
I think one of the best things that anybody, artist can do, or anybody for that matter, just not worry about what everybody else is doing. Just do your thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, just do your shit. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop being concerned about shit that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Just have a good time. If you're an artist and you want to, and people need to be let in to the mystique or whatever, and behind the scenes is like, do your best to not make yourself look bad, I guess, but like, just don't worry about it. It's like, get shit out there, do shit, have a good time doing it. Like, if you think about it right now, everybody's so lost. If you can be some sort of light for them or some sort of like, lightning rod to like feel better and kind of be more focused on something that's not shitty, then do that. Yep. And while you're doing that, don't be like, oh my God, am I keeping up with that guy? Am I keeping up with this guy? Just fucking be cool, man. Like Damien and I watched this movie Be Cool the other day. Be fucking cool.
Nice. That's cool. We have a term on the show, don't be a dick. That's another.
Right.
DVD nation.
Oh shit, what does that mean? Oh.
That's a tall order for many, man. I don't know what's harder, don't be a dick or be cool. They both seem very, very tough for people.
They are. It's like, let's just fucking, let's document our processes and then press record when we have moments that are awesome, and then we'll be able to fucking put that shit out there, and it will be awesome. We'll let people in, and like it's just like set yourself up with somebody else in the band that's not like it's like your fourth member, your fifth member, sixth member, how many band members you have, and just set it up and just be able to document certain shit and like take that and then start building around whatever you're releasing, because then you have things that are just going to be all you are is repurposing things that you're already doing when you get together. So right now, like you guys being in separate states, how do you guys practice by yourselves? Like, are you just like, how's that? How are you keeping up with the in between of what's going on? Like,
well, there's no need to practice right now because there is nothing like that's happening. But I mean, everybody's been playing long enough that you can just jump right on it. We played for the first time actually when those guys were in town last week. We played for a couple hours. And it sounded great. You know what I mean? You got to fix a few things here and there, and you got to like, tighten shit up. I mean, we weren't ready to play in a stadium, but it was pretty badass. The energy was there, and that's what needs to be there. So, it hasn't been hard. It's like we have to fly in to do something. We'll do that. Like there's something that we might do in Austin pretty soon that Mike is aware of. We'll just go fly and do that, and get out there and we'll rock. And Mike actually asked a little bit earlier, wanted to know like what we were gonna do, and Damien can started off to tell you like what we're doing with our assets that we have, our music and video and stuff like that, and anything that he's maybe unsure of or unaware of. I'll finish it off. But
go ahead, Damien.
Want to answer his question?
Shit, you sure? Because you've been, I was about to go get a coffee, man. Fucking, you've been driving this fucking bus, man. What? Restate the question. I'm like, all right, what do we got going on? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like right now, like between everything, you guys are what's coming up for you and how you're planning on, attacking it and using the assets that you've developed.
So basically, like we're waiting to get the music video back along with the rest of the music, which even so, we're not too like stressed about because, we're in a time where it's like a singles game, so it's like nobody's really shooting to drop projects like they used to, and you're starting to see that with not only mainstream artists, but even in like the rock world as well. So on top of getting the music video back, we're just trying to make sure that, we're going to use all of our resources. So that way, when this first track drops, it fucking makes such an impact that like people want to know how the fuck is this group doing the numbers they're doing, when we've never even heard of them prior to this, they don't have any previous music and I feel like, and that's what it's all is at the end of the day. It's a talking points. It's like, what's going to make people fucking talk. And I feel like this whole story of fucking starting something during honestly, like I wasn't alive for it, but I don't think anybody could really say they've been through something like this where like our country's been shut down and fucking there's rules and regulations that fucking haven't,
my lifetime,
that haven't happened in God only knows how long. And like I was saying earlier, like going against the grain and something that easily our industry's been hit the hardest out of everything, and fucking there's been so much money lost, but we're still fucking saying, fuck it. Cause at the end of the day, when we fucking prevail through it, it's going to be something that people are really going to look back on and be like, damn, like these guys really decided to fucking put their nuts on the table and be like, yo, we're going to fucking start something new. And we're going to fucking just put it out and fucking treat this shit like it's been around for fucking a handful of years, Yeah.
Take that momentum that you had, fucking cultivate what you guys cultivated, put it on there. And like you said something really important, and I think this, again, is another common thread that we cover, is the releasing of music and how bands just throw their shit out there without any strategy, and how it just goes by the wayside and nobody gives a shit. I have a friend that's an amazing fucking drummer. He covers all these songs, Tool, fucking Rush, everything. Dude, he's amazing. But he never like optimizes his stuff and he just throws his stuff out there. And it's like, dude, you're so awesome. Like, have a strategy. Don't fucking just throw it out there like that. Like
a lot of musicians and artists are not comfortable with commerce and business.
But they have to be now.
You know what I mean?
You gotta be.
They have to. They're not. That's why. I mean, that ends up why they actually don't want to take on that burden a lot of times, or that responsibility. It's like it's overwhelming. And
I'm an artist. I just want to be an artist, and I just
right, and that's fine. To each their own. If they want to do that, go do it. But if you also want to, maybe, and that's where sometimes like somebody can come in. Like these days, I'm sure you'll agree with this, Mike. There's not as many money people or management type people. If they come across someone who's talented and being lazy, they'll move on from them unless they're like just ungodly talented.
I think you're in a situation now where it's like, let's use, he's been everybody's lawyer pretty much, band wise on this podcast, whether it's Russ or you guys, is Eric German. He wants to find stuff that, I'm not speaking for Eric, but like, it seems that he looks in labels, look for stuff that,
already
is trending already is like kind of already has a following.
Yeah.
And, when we talked to him
and making shit happen.
And when we talked to Machine a few episodes, he said the same thing. He's like, you can't pitch your record anymore, because he was an artist at one point, Machine.
Mm-hmm. And then he stopped because
he was saying that, yeah, he couldn't. But I mean, the thing is that he even says now it's like the labels, the managers have to follow you. There is no more developmental process at the label. You have to do it on your own.
Yep.
And that means being part of commerce as an artist, 100%. And they don't want to mess around with you. You're exactly right, Mikey. If you're fucking lazy, there's nothing more I hate more than an apathetic artist. Fucking pisses me off.
Where it's like you're too good to put out content that like make it the best it can for a fucking iPhone. Like you don't have to put out everything, but make it a point to capture something about that practice.
And be consistent.
And be consistent. That's all. Not keep. You know what I mean? Like I'm going through this right now, man. Like I teamed up with another project band that's like all about what I want to do. So we're all on the same page. We're all from different bands, kind of like ReddStar, except it's not ReddStar. And like we're all on the same page about putting out content and like being like on top of shit that we were never able to execute in our own separate bands because everybody had something to say and everybody's getting in each other's way. That rhymes. And so it's like it's very frustrating to be that guy that's not saying I'm better than anybody, but that's looking into all these different, you know, the strategies that we're talking about right now and being all gung-ho about doing what we're talking about and then not seeing it be done and then still being part of it and seeing this great fucking thing not get the justification it deserves because nobody wants to go out of their comfort zone. And it's like, it does take an extra day a week outside of practice in the music to be able to start going, okay, I'm going to show my pedals. I'm going to do a whole fucking video on my pedal board and what I use. Why not? You have an asset that you just built now that you could put on Facebook and all these fucking social sites and plan it out for the month. You have that on the 15th of every month or once a month, you'll put out your fucking, you know, the things that you use. And then here's a hook on this song, you know, like this is the hook. This is the guitar hook for the guitarist. This is the drum part. That's a really awesome fill that you capture. There's so much you could do. But like,
you know what though, Greg, real quick. Sorry, one thing that's a little trippy though with musicians. Here's the thing, artists. We're these days you're competing with constant memes. People just saying shit all day, like telling you like, oh, I walked to the store. I looked to the left. You know what I mean? Here's what I ate. You know, chicks showing every part of their body, their butthole, like every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like that's really hard to keep up with because everybody loves sex, right? So when you're trying to compete with babes everywhere, you have to find a way to be interesting with your content. Here's the way I see it. If you post stuff that you're doing drum wise, 99.9% of your fan base is probably going to be people who want to watch drums, right? You're not going to get a regular random person watching you drum.
Yeah.
So if you want to only, you know, focus on people who are interested in that musical aspect, that's perfect. You can do that. If you want to branch out, you have to kind of like almost be a Kardashian, for lack of a better term. You have to be able to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. You have to engage people. You have to show people a little bit more than what's on the surface there, because that's only interesting to those particular people. Absolutely. And if you want to go across the board, you have to be an entertainer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't have those things, if you only want to be about music, then people are only going to find you regarding your music. You know what I mean? You can do that. And I do love that. It's like, I knew I wanted this band to be very music focused and have a purpose that was able to propel it into another level, but we still have to have personalities and we still have to talk and we still have to do this, that, and the other thing, you know, nothing that would fuck with our integrity.
No. I hear what you're saying. You have to take what your assets are as an individual artist, right? Take that creativity and be able to parlay it into putting your personality into it, which makes it unique, right? And
right.
Then you're showing yourself, your personality, your humor, and like being able to tap to a bigger audience beyond just a drum video, like you said. So, I mean,
right.
These are great things to take into consideration for listeners. Right. It's like, I want to make a drum video, great, but I'm going to do like a video before that's going to showcase my drum video, that's going to be able to promote it, and it's going to show my personality in it. And then we'll have some behind the scenes stuff, which makes things interesting. Like there's so many different angles to perspectives to one thing that you're putting forth, right? So like, not when you capture that, or like when you're able to do that, I think it's part of the ecosystem of yourself, the brand, and the actual band that you're in. So you're within yourself, you're building an audience individually and you're branding yourself within the band. And then when that comes out and you put it out, each of you, your organic site, it's going to resonate so much more when your single comes out and that video comes out. It's going to slam. You put some advertising behind that, boom, shit fucking blows up.
Right. You just gotta be real. You can't be too cool for school. You know what I mean? You gotta have like a cool personality, be real with people, and be engaging, and hopefully have the right product. Be the right product, it'll go. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. Yep. You know? Eric German, you've told me he's told me that countless times. You know, and actually the other day it was really cool. I shared it with the band. He just wrote me out of nowhere, Mike. He wrote, great start with a ReddStar rollout. Content looks great. And he sees us working. He sees us getting that stuff out there, We're doing it because we're excited. If you ask us why we're doing it, well, you're supposed to do it, right? But we're excited. We're not embarrassed to show people that we like what we're doing and that we want to bring this to the table. So we're not sitting back going like, oh my God, am I post too many times a day? And, overthinking it. It's like, why would I feel bad about posting about my band 2, 3, 4 times a week when people post memes 800 times a fucking day?
Absolutely.
And just say idle thoughts like, oh my God. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody just write, oh my God. I'm like, what kind of cryptic fucking passive aggressive shit is that? Say what the fuck you have to say or delete that shit. It's just like, oh my God.
It's like you almost don't even have an original thought upstairs in your fucking head.
Like I'm on the
it's like
OMG.
It's fucking lame, So it's like I don't feel bad that we're competing with stuff like that. Like, here's what we're doing. We're excited about it. We believe that it can bring change, bring positivity as opposed to stupid shit like that.
I think it says there's a point that you said in the interview here before is that like it's not about like I don't think it's about competing with anybody else, but like getting out of your own way and being comfortable with like being uncomfortable. And when you're being comfortable with being comfortable, that's how you're really gonna not just fucking cut through the static and all the noise. And I think that's what you guys are doing. It seems like it. We had Russ on the show at our State of the Union address on Mondays, which we put out, and it was great talking to him. And basically, you guys are all on the same page. It seems like, and we want to just say, as we're wrapping the show up right now, it's been a pleasure to have you guys. And like anytime we get to speak with people that are just like really putting forth in following their dreams and passion and being excited about it, which makes it so much more and so much more meaningful. I'd like to congratulate you on that and wish you guys the best of luck in everything you're doing, of course.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
And if you guys have anything else, where people can find you, you could say, whatever you want. You have the floor. Damien, Mikey, whatever you'd like, guys.
You tell them, Damien. You can tell.
Fucking ReddStar Music with 2 Ds, fucking everywhere. Try to make things easy. As we keep moving along, we're getting the website together. We're getting everything else ready to go. So, we'll try to keep it as simple as possible because we know how stupid people are. So fucking this way, if it's all the same thing, you'll be able to find it all in one spot. Yeah. And fucking be on the lookout because we're gonna drop that first single as soon as possible because we want to slap everybody in the face with it. It's going to be sick.
Right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we just want to stay busy. Like, why not? What would be our excuse right now to not stay busy?
That's right.
Exactly.
There would be zero. Like, hey, what are you guys doing? And if anybody in this band said nothing, I'd have them killed.
Hey, just to kind of touch on this little thing about stuff coming out, I saw on Russ's Instagram this morning that October, you guys are dropping the single for STFU. When are you dropping it?
I don't know.
Okay, well then.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of like being able to do whatever you want. Like when we get the video back and we get this song's being mastered right now. The video probably, I would say like another week or so. And then we're going to all discuss. We'll probably discuss it with, Brian, who did the videos. Sahaj is doing the music, the band, everybody that's involved. It's really, there's a lot of overthinking that can go into stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't believe there should be any. It's like, what's the point? We're a new band. Let's put it out there. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it comes out on the 9th or the 23rd. What does it really matter? It's like, it's new. It's like, let's blow it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not like the old days of like, Tuesday is record release day because that's when BDS would report certain things, or that's when it was just stated that you would do it. Now they release albums on streaming on Fridays because everybody's attention to the internet is more so on Fridays and the weekends because they don't have anything to interfere with it. So they know that higher amount of spin.
I would say the middle of the month probably, and then not on Friday, because what do we need to compete with other people for? We'll just do it whenever we feel like it, like Wednesday or Thursday or
so Columbus Day.
Perfect. Yeah. And the video will be out and the song will be out and we'll be off and running. And all it is really is it's our first statement and our first step in our journey. And yes, we want it to do well and we believe that it will. And we'll just keep pressing forward. We got more where that came from. Literally after we release this, we're on to the next one, planning that.
Yep.
We're going to have to do all the things necessary behind this one. We talked to Machine. We're probably we're looking to go out and do that live or that
Machine Shop Live.
stream.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, which will be
Too. I mean, that's going to be great.
yeah.
Around the song, the music video, like you have, there's so much you could do around that one single that you're releasing. So when it builds up, you build that up, releasing it, it's going to resonate so much more. So fucking A, dude, guys,
Absolutely.
thank you,
Amazing.
thank you for being.
Thank you.
We will.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, Mike, do you have anything you'd like to say? Or?
No, man. Thanks for being on the show, and look out for ReddStar. I've known these guys for a while, and
I don't know you. I'm sorry. No.
fuck you. Man. I've known Mikey and Russ, so screw the other two. I don't care about those guys. I know half the band. All right, screw Damien. But no, kidding. But the thing is like when you talk about bands who work hard and are kind of like the gold standard of work ethic, I really look to these guys. So look out for their stuff. Probably middle of the month, we'll see STFU released as a single, and also see the video, which I've seen some background clips and stuff and photos, and it looks.
Yeah, they've been putting it out since the past.
I've seen more than what you see on Instagram. It looks amazing.
Ooh,
So yeah,
you are.
So I'm the inside guy, pal. But anyway, man, thanks so much for having you guys on the show. We'll be checking you out real soon out there on the interwebs.
Yep. Look
Thanks,
forward.
man. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Amazing guys, amazing band. I think it's a work ethic you don't see in a lot of bands these days, except for the real successful ones.
That's why they're on here, Mike.
Well, God bless you, Craig.
God bless you
That's
for
why.
fucking doing such a great job and bringing such passionate people that are doing things with their fucking career. It's awesome.
Well, I've been around the block a few times,
Haven't you?
taking a shot in the mouth to get somewhere. Things like that.
Oh, not the shot of. I love it.
Totally kidding.
Awesome guys. Hard. I like how he's so young and like he's teaming up with older
It's just
guys.
driven. I mean, to all our fans in New Jersey, I am from there. I don't necessarily want to ever go back. Actually, I don't ever want to go back.
I live in New Jersey, by the way.
And Greg lives in New Jersey, and we have this conversation all the time of like, I've always felt, and I think Doc mentioned this on his podcast, that being in LA. No, well, being in LA, it's like things are a lot more open. You can get things done quicker. Whereas because the mindset's a little different because you're surrounded by a lot more like people.
No, but he said something that I remember what you're talking about. He said that everything he's ever done never really was appreciated in New Jersey, but when he went out to LA,
yes,
it was like there was people respected all the shit he's ever done. It's like it was like he's never,
because everyone has a collective vision almost,
which is cool. I like that.
Step on each other, but they have a collective vision. They won't tell you they're stepping on you, but they have a collective.
But you said this too. There's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, my screenplay. But
I mean, there's tons of people who will sit there and literally write their life away in a fucking Starbucks,
right,
and go fucking nowhere,
right. But like you could do all your past.
The problem with this city is that the ones who work really hard succeed. The ones who just want the Provence and are too scared to actually put their foot in the crosswalk or the road, it won't go anywhere. They will sit at Starbucks and you will watch them age over time.
Oh boy, hey man!
And I've watched it. I've seen people do it.
Sure.
Over 14 years, I've watched. There's a Starbucks in LA. No, I'm not fucking kidding you, dude. This is serious.
We support local business coffee shops.
Yeah, we support Groundworks, by the way. Fuck Starbucks. But there is a Starbucks in Studio City, California. It sits right on Vineland and Ventura Boulevard. Now, I have met a lot of friends there. I've had a lot of friends come out of there. Mm-hmm. But I've also had a lot of friends leave and go on to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
My point being is there's a certain group of people that every time I go to the Cleaners, which is right next to the Starbucks, I see the same people that were there 14 years ago, only 14 years older, and have ran out of time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And are delusional as shit. And it's not everybody who's there, but there's some that just, man, wow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like if we're in a time right now, and back to the Damien Keys point, where if you're not sharpening the tools in the off season, which we're kind of in the off season,
mm-hmm.
how the hell are you going to make it to the big show at the end of the season?
Exactly, dude. This is exactly. I mean, it's like
you don't see football play, and I mean, not to use sports analogies.
No, you should.
You guys sound like a bunch of dumb jocks. But the thing is that you don't get anywhere without hard work. You don't get anywhere without constant, focused practice every day.
Yep. 10,000 hours. There's more to it than just the 10,000 hours. It's like, what are you doing with those 10,000 hours? How are you making them work for you the best way possible and optimizing those?
This podcast is fun and everything. We have 2 episodes a week where we do these major episodes that we batch record, and then me and Greg do weekly ones on Sunday nights that we give you guys value of articles. I sit there and I research those articles every week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come up with 20, 30 articles and we'll pick 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's starting to get like that with the State of the Union segment. I sit here and I have other business ventures going on. I work. I get up at 5 a.m. This is no joke. And I'll work till 10, 11 o'clock at night and get up at 5 again. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is that there's to me at this point, and I am definitely a victim of this in the past. Where I would just squander fucking time going, Instagram, this is cute. What a great point.
The rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. Now when I'm on Instagram, I'm like, what influencers can we align with?
Yep. Now you're thinking on how using technology.
How do you use it as a business?
Not to drain you of your fucking your time, which is,
how do you bring value to our people?
Right.
What are we doing in the next 90 days to make the combine better?
Yeah.
This is constant focus. I spend an hour in the morning focusing on what goals we want to achieve that day.
Now everybody doesn't have to do that.
I'm just showing the example of focus.
If you have something you're passionate about, don't just leave it to chance to get it out there in the world. Make it known, but do it right. Look at the right ways to do things. Look at the things that people that will help you actually relate to people. I think that goes by the wayside, and even I do it myself. It's you got to have it a little more thought out, a little more strategic. Don't just go half cocked. When I call somebody, as in business for marketing services, I do my research before I even call them, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. So they know subconsciously that I'm not just calling them out of nowhere and being like a fucking stupid sales guy. It's like, oh yeah, I see on your website you have this and this and this. What are you doing about what are you doing to make yourself better? Speaking to things and pain points that they got, but that thing. When we're talking to you guys out there, these are planned episodes, and the content that we're bringing that week is going to be based around the people we're interviewing. So it's a strategy, and we're still learning and applying and building it as well. So you guys are with us in real time while this is happening. So
and I think too is there's a reason sharks always move.
What's that reason? Because
they'll die if they don't.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Sharks constantly move, otherwise they die.
Keep moving.
And you got to keep moving. You got to keep shucking and jiving and keep going the way you need to go.
I just want to fucking dance. 5, 6, 7, 8. Places, girls.
Oh God!
All right, dude. Better go.
I feel bad for the LGBTQ community.
Oh boy, I would have a great time entertaining them.
Oh boy,
I'm entertaining me.
Awesome, another episode, and I will see you next time, Greg.
Yeah, buddy. Mañana.
Have a good one.
You too, bud.
Bye bye.